Hey guys, ghazzyTV here with another crafting Path of Exile video. Today I wanted to show you how to METACRAFT items. It's been asked a lot, and one of my moderators wanted me to show exactly how it's done to make sure that you guys get that information. METACRAFTing is a very expensive crafting method. It's not something I would generally recommend unless you know what you're doing. So this video is here to show you how to do it and how to get the knowledge that you would need to understand why and how to hit what you want. The current axe I have right now is pretty dope. I got a chance to bleed with this weapon, deals 100% more damage, and I got a tier 1 roll with from Elder, giving me % fizz as a suffix with killing strike against bleeding enemies, as well as a tier 2 tyrannical. Now this was just something I randomly hit, and I decided to METACRAFT it for fun. I'm going to show you how it's done. This is about 470 PDPS if my calculation's correct. Let's actually double check how much we reached with it. So to calculate DPS manually, take the low end DPS plus the high end DPS divided by 2 multiplied by the actual attack speed, and you land on 467.84 PDPS from this weapon. So that's a pretty dope weapon. So we did this craft 2 days ago on the stream, so I'm going to show you the footage for that, and it's very simple. So basically what I first did was, let's see, rewind a little bit. You can see the axe here. First, what I'm doing, usually you can do this with fossils. I got a little bit upset that my fossils didn't hit it, so I started using alteration crafts to reach a decent base. So basically what I'm looking for is a specific modifier. I'm looking for the chance for my bleed damage to deal 100% more damage, which you will see here that I will receive in when I'm crafting it. And I'm also looking for a suffix with increased physical damage. So basically what I'm doing is I'm looking for very specific modifiers before I keep the item. So as you can see here, I got the mod and I decided to actually use an annulment orb. Annulment orb removes a random modifier from an item to get a 50-50 chance because I wanted a good suffix out of it. I use it and I fuck the weapon over and I keep crafting with alterations. And this is just this type of item. Not something I recommend. I did decide that I was going to keep decent attack speed rolls. So in this case here, I only have 13% attack speed. It's not the best around. And there's a tier 2 tyrannical roll. And I decided to have some fun and actually regal it where I get the mod. Now what's really nice with this is that this one has a tier 2 physical roll with the mod I actually wanted. It's not the best that I was going for, but it's something I decided to play around with. The problem with this attack speed roll here is that the quality and attack speed actually gives me the same amount of attack speed. And it also gives me quality for even more damage, which is a better modifier than the suffix that I got. So in general, this is only 2 prefix rolls. So this is where I eventually decide to actually METACRAFT the item. And the way you METACRAFT it, as you can see here, I have a prefix physical roll with a prefix bleed chance inflicted can deal up to 100% more damage. And there's a suffix attack speed. So basically, now that I'm realizing that the attack speed and quality roll is better than the attack speed on the mob weapon, I decided to actually METACRAFT it. So the process of METACRAFTing it is usually in the way that you have preferably 3 perfect of what mods, but in this case we can benchcraft with a multicraft the fizz roll to reach really high numbers. So what I do decide is that I use the METACRAFT system or mechanic to purge off the suffix. And the way you do that is to craft a mod called prefixes cannot be changed, and then you use which is a suffix modifier. And then you have 2 different options. Either I just scour it, which is what I did, just to make sure that it was done. That's 2 exalted and a scour orb, just to get rid of that attack speed roll. You can also use prefix can't be changed and use an annulment orb, which would have a 50-50% chance to remove that prefix cannot be changed benchcraft or the attack speed. And since I didn't really care about it, I did just scour it. So as you can see here in the footage in a second, I'll show you how I put the prefix can't be changed mod, and then I will scour the item, and this is where the METACRAFT process starts. And basically what the METACRAFT process is that you basically make sure that, in this case I only have, thank you for the raid severs. Basically, as you can see, I scour it, and now I put in a block on my prefix. And a block basically means that there's 2 prefixes, so I'm putting in a 3rd prefix so that when I use an exalted orb on it, it cannot roll a prefix because I want to have another benchcraft on that later. So I'm blocking the prefix, as you can see, with a mana roll. And since there's no prefixes open, what will now happen is that when I exalt this item, the only thing that can roll is a suffix modifier. And I can do this twice, and if I hit anything good, then I can use the method I mentioned before with prefix that can't be changed and use an annulment orb, which would only remove one of the suffixes if I hit one of those two exalted would be hitting a good modifier. So as you can see here on the first couple of tries, I hit life gain on kill, and I decided to hit it again, and I hit, let's use the exalted, thank you, and I hit 50 strength. Now, in this case, I have a suffix open, so that since none of these modifiers were good, then I'm restarting the process. This is how metacrafting works. So I put prefix can't be changed, and then I scour it, and we're back on the start, which means that I will again block the prefix, so I keep that mod open, locked, so I don't have to ruin the item. Put another exalted, hit the bad strength roll, I'll do it again, and I hit lightning rest, that's terrible. Rinse, repeat the process. So this is a very expensive way of crafting. So I scour it, and I block the prefix again. So I block the prefix, and I slam it, and now we hit area of effect with Ancestor Call, and we hit accuracy. It was terrible, didn't want any of that. Restart the process by prefix can't be changed, scour, block the prefix again, and slam it again. And this is where I hit the crit roll, and then I hit the dexterity. Not happy with it, I restart the process, scour it, block the prefix. It's a very simple strategy to do this. And then I exalt it, and now we hit the hits with the weapon, have Culling Strike against bleeding enemies. And it's just a suffix modifier, which also has percent physical damage. Now this is a really good roll. Now I have the option to slam it again if I want to. However, there are 2 open suffixes and 1 open prefix, which means that I can put a multi-craft that I can have, or bench craft that can have up to 3 bench crafts, and put the last suffix and the prefix manually myself, upon which I obviously, as you can see on my axe, I decide to do, and I put flat physical as the prefix and the percent quality and attack speed as the suffix. Ended up with a almost 470 PDPS bleed axe. So that's the way you do meta crafting. It's a very, very expensive way to craft. I've done a couple of meta crafts this league, sold most of them. We did a little bit on this helmet as well. I don't know, we sold the other ones. We sold one of the shields we crafted for about 325x, so we sold another one for 200x or something like that. So meta crafting can be very profitable, but it's a very huge risk of crafting. So basically the mod I hit on the slam is an elder modifier suffix with, let's see if I can find it here, it is culling. This one has a weight pool of 1000, so it's not super rare to hit, to be honest. It's not very hard to hit this. However, as you can see, every time I reset the item, that's a 2 exalted fee. And then 1 exalted per extra modifier I add to it. So what happens if I would have reached, let's say I would have gotten a low dexterity roll and this one as a second slam, then I would have to pay 2 exalted to put prefix can't be changed, and then use an annulment orb, which would have a 33% chance to remove the bad modifier, 33% chance to remove the good modifier, at which point I would slam it again, and then another 33% chance that it would remove the actual benchcraft prefix that cannot be changed, which means that I would have to pay another 2x to reapply that modifier before annulling it again. So the process is very expensive. It costs a lot of exalts to do metacrafting, which is why not that many people are doing it. But I figure this is a good guide to show you how it actually can be done. Craft Exile is a very good way to determine what the best way is to reach a specific modifier that you might want. So for example, showing you how to see this, of course these links are going to be in the description below. So we take a one-handed axe with the influence of Elder, and the mod we really want is the prefix with bleeding, 60% chance of bleeding inflicted with this weapon deals 100% more damage. That's the mod we want. Now if we want something else, let's say we want the culling one. If I can find it there, I'm hovering over it. And we can look at fossils, for example. You can literally just click the compute best selection to see what way I could get the chance to bleed as well as the culling strike mod on a weapon utilizing this specific method. And you can see here the most cost efficient way would cost me about an average of 7 tries to get these mods. The problem with this is that I would get other modifiers as well. So if you're using alteration crafts, for example, alt augment regal, you can see that the average would be about 2,400 chaos to hit those 2 specific mods. So there's a lot of different ways you can play around with Craft Exile to see what the odds are to hit certain ways of crafting. Obviously, in my case, I had a percent physical tyrannical or higher instead of the bleed one. So if I took the culling, sorry. So if I do it like this, why isn't it? I'm confused. Something like this. You can see that the odds of hitting it is very, very low. Either way, so that's basically what you do. You craft a base of item that you want, and then the metacrafting will commence after the process of you having an actual base you want to work with. So that's basically how metacrafting works. Nothing really special. It's very straightforward. It's very simple to do. The problem with it is that it's a very expensive process. But that's about it. I'm going to link this in the description, link all the links in the description below. And obviously there's a lot of other crafting videos which are more budget friendly, profit crafting videos and whatnot available there. So do make sure to check them out if you're interested in actually crafting. Now that the Harvest League 3.11 is coming out with a lot of crafting, having the information like this will be very, very nice to have. Anyways, boys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and comment for more content. Until next time, stay safe and keep rocking.